So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to reprogram your mind to make a lot of money. Okay. And there is something that has to shift in your ideology. And there is something that shifted in my ideology that got me to make a lot more money than I was already making. So what is it that you shift in your mind, in your mental framework that will allow you to make a lot of money? Because there is a lot of money in the world. And if you don't have it, then there is something in your ideology that may need some change, some transformation, only if you want to make a lot of money. If you don't want to make a lot of money, then that's fine. You don't have to pay attention to this video. But if you do want to make a lot of money, that's one of your aspirations. And for some reason, you see that you stop yourself from doing that a lot of the times. You may find yourself procrastinating around this subject. Then this video is for you. And I highly recommend that you stick till the end and watch to gain full perspective and apply the knowledge. This is based on hundreds and hundreds of presentations, many mental dialogues, several books that I've read, and I've done over 50 courses on business, finance, leadership, and various other subjects directly or indirectly related to business. And I've gained some insights after over 9 years of doing this. And I've started 7 companies, and not all of them succeeded. And some of them did succeed. And what did I learn from all of this? And there is something in your philosophy, in your ideology, in your programming that stops you from making money. My mentor, Dan Pena, talks about this extensively. And this is why I'm going to be talking about this in this video. So there is something that we are born with, an ideology that probably our parents have, our family has, our ethnicity has, and our, even in terms of nations, every nation has an ideology. And it's all baked into the law, it's baked into the national anthem, it's baked into the school system, the books, the religious books, family's ideology, and it's all baked into that. And most of our value system is not determined by us. It's actually determined by these systems. And that's one of the reasons why Dan Pena talks about nationalities, ethnicities, and religion, is because the people in power, the Pope, the heads of states, that existed a couple of 100 years ago, they infiltrated the books. Okay, any person who would conquer a country, they would change the ideology, because that is what governs behavior around different subjects. And one of the things that they did was change the ideology of people to drive them away from power, drive them away from money, and to push this agenda that money is not important, or money is the root of all evil, or money is not good, money is dirty. And these types of ideologies, even though not conscious, at a subconscious level, they may be playing inside of you. They may be running you. And this is one of the factors that is responsible when you hold back from success, because you don't want to become somebody that's not considered good. You don't want to become somebody who is considered a monster, for example. You don't want to become that character that lives for money, and thrives on money. Typically some of the most monstrous characters in any movie, any, history books or religious books, is somebody who was obsessed with power. The antagonist, the villain of the story, is always shown as somebody who's obsessed with power, obsessed with money. And even if you look at Mission Impossible, you see the guys who are the villains are living large, and they have all the best equipment. And these guys have a small team. They don't have enough resources, and they are trying to tackle and fight these bad guys, right? And you can clearly see this in cinema, and you can see this everywhere. And actually, this ideology is being, in a very subtle manner, propagated that a good person is someone who stays away from power, stays away from money, stays away from materialism, and goes after spiritual things. Goes after love, goes after other things, and that's a good person. And the person who goes after power and money is actually evil and monstrous, and that person has to be squashed and eradicated, etc., etc. And you don't want to be that person, otherwise you'll go to hell, and all of these narratives and this complex web of ideologies constructed. And as a result, what you have is a bunch of people who deep down want to make money, but they don't want to come across as somebody who wants to make money. They don't want to admit it that they want to make money. And they kind of have convinced themselves that we don't want to become this person, who lives for money, who lives his life around money, who structures his relationship around money. How much was Trump hated? How much is Kim Kardashian hated in today's world? Even within their families, there is a lot of financial conflict going on. And, how many people can say that, oh, I love Kim Kardashian or I love the Kardashians, right? Not a lot of people say that is because a lot of their life is around money. And we villainize such figures, we villainize such people, and this culture is set up to villainize such a person. So when most of our lives we have seen these people being villainized, would you want to aspire to be like them? Would you want to aspire to be like Kim Kardashian? She's a great, great businesswoman. I know she has had a sex tape and all of this, and we can villainize her as much as we want. But in terms of the result, financial result, whether she's considered as a good person or not, that's not the argument. Is she financially successful? And the answer is yes, because she's a marketing genius. And same thing with Donald Trump. He was hated and villainized all in the press, and I've read many of his books. He said that he would take a neighborhood that was completely messy, he would transform it, create a beautiful building there, and instead of praising him, the press would start villainizing him. That, oh, he got tax cuts on this building, he manipulated the government, this, that, and they would start blaming him. And he would be like, I got the tax cuts. If I didn't, I would never have transformed this area. I would have never constructed this hotel, and all the staff that works in the hotel would have never gotten jobs. So I created so many jobs, I constructed this building, but this person is being villainized. So the rich are villainized. The Rothschild, How many of you have a picture of Rothschild on your wall that you want to be like? Maybe we want to have someone, a Mother Teresa, a Dalai Lama. These are the figures that we want on our walls. We want to be seen as someone who is holy. We want to be seen as someone who is saintly. We don't want to be seen as someone who is, villain-like, or at least somebody who is known or famous to be a villain-like persona. And the truth may be completely opposite, but these people are villainized. So something happens to the mind as a child when you see this, and you make certain decisions early on in your life that maybe, and I did the same, is I don't want to be that person. I want to be a good person. I want to be the underdog, right? I want to be the little guy from the little neighborhood. That's the guy that everybody loves. And, there is always this, the character of Jack Dawson from Titanic, where the rich are all snobbish and sad and empty, and the poor people in the lower class side of the Titanic, they're having fun, and all the fun is happening there, and the rich people are, suffering, and they're just hollow and dead inside. And that's the narrative that's painted, and you're like, you know what? Poverty seems to be more fun than being rich. And so on and so on. And movie after movie, books after book, every religion in the world, all the books from the school trains us to do that. Now we are grown up and we are sitting at a negotiation table, and you have two options. You can ask for more money for yourself. You could increase your prices for your services. You could make more phone calls, but you have guilt. You have, the self-dialogue, self-critiquing yourself, um, criticizing yourself. What kind of man are you becoming? You're asking people for money, you're taking their money, and all of these dialogues may start to weigh you down. And people actually around you may start to villainize you if you start to make money. I mean, we think that when we walk, when we drive, we roll up in a Ferrari, we would be light. But no, how many times you see a guy driving a Ferrari, he gets out with a really attractive girl. How many people like that guy? No, instantly, asshole. That guy is an asshole. That guy got his money from his family. He's not talented. He's this, he's that. And without even knowing the guy, we start villainizing the person and start projecting. And there's all kinds of jealousy involved and all of that. But there is desire also for that life. So there's this so much mix of cocktail of emotions around money. And this is what makes it extremely complex. This whole world of money, that's why it becomes extremely complex from a moral standpoint, from a philosophical and ideological standpoint. There is so much confusion. Is it good? Is it bad? And we can't seem to make up our mind whether success is good or bad. So there is a value system that is fucked up, essentially, because that's how it is in the society. That's how it is in the religious books. That's how it is in the movies. The accurate picture is not shown, and money starts to become, take a fourth or fifth priority of life. Money just then becomes a tool to fulfill needs, not to enjoy life, not to travel the world and experience a lot of things. Money just becomes this tool that you use to fulfill your needs. If you are able to fulfill your needs, then you're good. Anything more than that has to be a crime, or has to be a sin, or has to be, if you have surplus money, oh, that's so bad. So many people in the world don't have food to eat, and you have the audacity to keep a couple of $1 million in your bank account. How dare you? And everybody, these rich people also can develop a lot of guilt. And hence you have charities where people go to charities. People, want to appear as though they want to do something, and there is this whole image of being saintly and being good that comes with it. So this whole thing is a web. This whole thing is a trap. This whole thing is an ideological narrative that has been programmed. And the real reason behind it is that the people in power want to keep the entire masses away from money. It's just a strategy. This is my perspective. It's a strategy to eradicate competition. Because if I can defeat you internally, I don't have to defeat you externally. If I turn your own mind against yourself, against your interest, I don't have to defeat you. You will yourself, defeat yourself. And there is a small example that I want to provide for this to illustrate this point. I was playing badminton with one of my friends in childhood, the racket game. And I was a little bit older, maybe 14, 15 years old, and these morals started to take shape in my mind. And what I started to do was I wanted to deliberately lose to make my friend win and appear really good. And I saw he also was, giving me softball, and I was giving him softball. And both of us found ourselves in a position where we didn't want to beat each other. Nobody wanted to win. Now, maybe we accomplished the goal. We looked really good. But what happened in the process? We killed the spirit of the game. We killed the spirit of the game. We slowed ourselves down. We reduced ourselves. We reduced our abilities. We reduced our competence. We started to hide our strengths. And what happened? The spirit of the game was gone. Now, maybe if I gave him hard ball after hard ball, he would have had to put out his A game. And as a result, both of us in a competitive dynamic would have helped each other grow, and our skills and abilities would have grown, and we would have had fit bodies and, good physique. And, competition and jealousy can sometimes create a lot of progress, and if he wins, I might be jealous of him, I may be angry at him, and I push myself harder. And what that does is it makes me grow as a person. It makes my body grow, it makes my abilities grow, because I want to push myself. But when I slow myself down, when I want to appear humble, when I want to don't show my strength, then I'm reducing my abilities, I'm reducing myself. And a very similar phenomena is occurring in the financial world, where we are ashamed of competence. We are ashamed of making more, and if you make a lot of money and if you show it around, then people are going to say you're a show off, you're a braggadocious guy, and they will essentially villainize you. And Felix Dennis talks about this in his book, How to Get Rich. And he talks about this strange phenomena that occurs when you make a lot of money. Your friends start hating you. You're the same guy, you worked hard for it, and you made it. And now your friends have jealousy in their eyes. They look at your house and they feel jealous of you. They look at you and they feel jealous of everything you've got. And somehow they feel entitled that they should receive some because they don't have any. But you were working when they were not. And so there's this weird situation with success that's going on, that it's not celebrated. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not celebrated in this world. It's demonized. And that's what's at the source of the lack of desire to make the money. It's not on the top of our list. I remember I was speaking to one of my female friends, and it's an ex-girlfriend that I had, and we were on a call, and she said, could you help me make money? You're making money and you've been studying about business and you've had a lot of transformation. I can see it, but could you teach me something? And I told her that one of the first lessons to making money is that you have to value it. It has to be one of your top values. And she said, oh, good thing, I don't have such a problem. I value money. I'm not one of those people who doesn't value money. I do value money. I said, yeah, value over what? Do you value money over, your cooking hobby? Do you value money over yoga? Do you value money over maybe your husband or kids? Do you value money over your family? What are you willing to give up for money? And in your day, if your day is structured, where as you are facing with different choices, different activities you can do with your day, and family, money, if you choose family, health, money, if you choose health. There's nothing wrong with health. You could take care of your health. It takes 1 or 2 hours a day. Or cooking hobby, money, cooking hobby. Talking to your best friend or making money, talking to your best friend. Watching TV or making money, watching TV. So yeah, I value money, but it's on the 8th place, or it's on the 6th place, it's on the 7th place. Well, obviously, money is not gonna come because things take effort, right? So money has to go at the top of your value. And I talked about this, is if you want to make money, you have to value it. And I told her this, that if you don't have money, consider you don't value it enough. Because if you did value it, you would have it. You would structure something. You have the brain to get it. You have the contacts to get it. You have the techniques to get it. You know what to do. But you can't get yourself to do it because you don't value it in your mind. And why you don't value it is because of the reasons I said. Because it's not something that's celebrated, and people who are villainized are the ones who organize their life around money. Friendship or money. How many times have you and I heard, save the relationship, let the money go? Money may come, but at least you have the relationship. How many of us have heard that? How many of you are willing to give up the relationship for money? Would you do it? Would you let your friend go because you have to work more and have to make more money? And that's the question. That's the ugly question, so to speak. That do you value it that much? If you value it that much, you'll have the money. If you're willing to not spend time on all of this stuff and spend time around money, there's no way you wouldn't have money. But here's the thing. You would not be celebrated when you have money. You will not be celebrated. You would be villainized. You will be villainized. Successful people are not celebrated, unfortunately. People who are very charitable, people who are saintly are the ones who are celebrated. People who make money for themselves are not celebrated. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. And that's the whole lesson here. How to reprogram your mind is you have to value money. And you have to look into the reasons why you don't value money and the stuff that's already gone into you. And most of these are misconceptions. Money is extremely important. Money helps you do so many things, take care of yourself. And that's important. Even take care of your family. If you value your family, it'll help you achieve so many goals. And more importantly, how you make the money is by making a difference to someone. When you make a difference to someone, they give you money. So money is a measure of how much difference you have made. But if you just make difference and don't collect money, then it's not a sustainable system because you will be exhausted. If you just keep giving and don't receive, you will get completely exhausted. So it has to be an exchange. And that's why I say a lot of the times is that a lot of your relationships which are not mutually beneficial, meaning they benefit from you, but you don't benefit. Your interest is not being taken care of. They are not true friendships. You got to get rid of them. They benefit, you benefit. That's a fair deal. And that's what capitalism is about. A mutual, fair exchange of goods and services in exchange for money. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it, even though people say it's wrong and bad to charge for your goods and services. No, it's not bad. It's not wrong. How is this rational to give goods and services that you worked hard to obtain? You just give it away without any money. It's just not practical. And I'm proud to say this, that there is something that my brother needed from me. It was a service that he wanted me to perform for him. And I asked for money. Where's the check? And he didn't like it. But that's what I said. And it was a fair exchange. And I would have, if it was a different situation and if the roles switched, I wouldn't have had a problem. If I value what that person is offering, write the check. I don't mind. Or you could do a barter. Okay, I do this for you and you do this for me. And let's just strike a deal. That's also fine. Doesn't have to necessarily be financial. But there has to be an exchange. And people say transactional relationships are not good. Why not? Transactions are anyway happening. So why not be honest about it? And because of these ideologies and wanting to look like a saint, this happened. And Dan Binney also talked about this in the seminar. And this is a very big sticking point for a lot of the people, is that they go into a seller's office to buy their business and they try to make the seller their friend. And the whole conversation starts to deviate from business to personal life. And people have 3 hours of meeting, 2 hours of meeting. And Dan Pena said that he doesn't like lunch meetings because you don't have to talk that long about business. You can talk about the transaction. But the moment you start being too transactional, you don't like yourself. You judge yourself. And you are afraid of them judging you too. So you do ask about their family, you do ask about their kids, you do ask about, how their life is going. And all of that's disingenuous. And it's a waste of time. So Dan Pena said, by the time you were being such a romancer, trying to, romance the seller, I've come 3 times. I've had sex 3 times while you were being such a romancer. And that's, he's a bit graphic when it comes to explanations, but it makes the point that people go in to make the seller their friend. But you are there for a business transaction. So you got to stick to the agenda. You cannot deviate and start talking about something else just to look good. And this happens a lot in the sales calls where people start talking about pretending that they are friends. They're not. This is a business transaction, right? So that's the world that I wanted to create between capitalism and socialism. One is based on love and spirituality, airy-fairy, and the other is an exchange of goods and services in exchange for money. Okay, so that's, and both have different ideologies. One values relationships, and the other is structured around exchange of goods and services, for money. And most of the people are wired with this ideology, and it's not as effective. If you want to accomplish things, you could have financial relationships and still be cordial with each other. So that's my perspective on why a lot of the people are struggling with making money, is because they don't value it enough. And that is related to what is your underlying ideology. If you want to find what that is, look at the religious books that you've read. Ask your family what their ideology is about money. What is money? Ask them, what is money to you? Take an interview. I did this. I called my relatives on my mother's side and father's side, and I asked, what was the ideology around money in our family? What was the ideology around money in your religious books? What's the ideology around money when you were growing up, when you saw what you saw around happening, the neighborhood that you come from? How was money treated, and how were rich people treated? What were some of the narratives around them, some of the stories around them? Were they considered good or not? And you start making a list of things that were said, and you will know where your ideology comes from. You're not separate from your environment. Whatever is in your mind has come from the environment. And to analyze your environment, to analyze the information that's gone into your mind is extremely critical, because your mind is what you use to create wealth. And if there is inhibitions around money, you wouldn't be able to get yourself to take the action necessary for you to be successful. You will leave opportunities on the table, financial opportunities on the table. How many times financial opportunities come your way and you say, I don't want it. I'm not that desperate for money. I don't want it. You can have it. I'm willing to let money on the table. I just want to be a good person. And we let a lot of the opportunities pass by. We don't jump on them because we don't want to be the bad guy. So that's the lesson for this video. That was today's video. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you soon.